To WrestleCulture.
Seamless.
Nice. Don't call it a comeback. The Jericho cruise. Y2J's there. MVP's in a mood. Letting the fist rain down like a monsoon. Listen to the bass go boom. Explosions. Overpowering. Over Chris Montel is towering. This ain't a game of cops and robbers. Jericho said he don't fight jobbers. Chris, please don't sing. You better move or another swing will be coming your way and you'll be in a daze. How's this for a catchphrase? Jericho got knocked out. MVP knocked him out. Jericho got knocked out. MVP knocked him out. I'm Adam Wilborn from What Culture, joined by Phil Chambers and Michael Sidgwick from What Culture to talk about Chris Jericho getting sparked on his own cruise and a load of other wrestling stuff. But before we get into it, if you're a fan of this sort of thing, make sure you subscribe to What Culture Wrestling on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and YouTube, where we do daily wrestling podcasts where we review Raw, SmackDown, the show formerly known as NXT 2.0. Dynamite, AW Collision, pay-per-views, premium live events. We have interviews, roundtable discussions, and a roundup of the week completes a Liga quiz, of course, on WrestleCulture. As I said, though, joined by Phil and Sidgwick. It's sort of a weird story, this, because it happened, 4 years ago, the fight?
Yeah.
And it was, I feel like they talked about getting into, rows before, didn't they? The jobbers line was, I think, when Jericho ran into a lift, when he got confronted by him a year or two later.
But I like the idea of that, because in my head, it's like Jericho getting on a lift, and then as the doors are closing, just throwing out a line at him.
Yeah.
Got him.
Actually, I need to... No. What do you make of it all,
You wouldn't hold the door open to begin with. It's funny that it got leaked now, and it's almost comic.
Yes.
The idea being that if you go back to February 2020 and the cruise, Chris Jericho was so hot and popular that he was very much in one of those untouchable phases where people forgot Rooty, Tooty, Booty, and he was genuinely, as he was, he'd like to say himself, king of the world, Le Champion.
Yeah.
Everyone loved him, and it all culminated where he's the AEW champion. He's going to wrestle on his own boat. And it was the birth, if you remember, of the Judas sing-along.
Yes.
The birth of the Judas sing-along happened on that cruise, and obviously is after the Pando, it's persisted to this day, sadly. So it just felt like that was the greatest possible thing that could have ever happened to a man with an ego that size. So much so that it felt like made up. The kind of thing he would make up to placate that ego.
Yeah.
I beat a dinosaur on my own boat when I was the champion, and everyone sang my song that I wrote and sang at me. Ridiculous. And now, kind of nice karma, if he is indeed a creep, that he got sparked out.
Yeah.
At the best moment of his life. That's Chris Jericho, though, isn't it? Everyone is always a bit like, what have you done for me lately, Chris?
Yeah.
30 years of really well-received reinventions and stories and promos and angles. Yeah, but what have you done for me lately, Chris? I'm the king of the world. Yeah, you got punched in the face.
I just because he's got such a carefully curated image of that kind of rock star, Le Champion. He makes sure to carry himself as the
beats
kind
up
of big
Goldberg.
star.
If he beats up Goldberg, he would have beat up Lesnar as well.
I was going to say, threatens to fight Lesnar, yeah.
All of these stories and just the way he carries himself and the way he is out and about and stuff. That's
we've seen him,
curated
Phil.
image, yeah.
We've seen him, Phil.
And then just when you get these little moments of that veneer slipping and he's actually just a bit of a douchebag. Yeah. Just get a weird little perverse pleasure about that.
Shout out to everyone in the chat, by the way. Carl
Hello.
Stevens says... never too late to hear about Jericho getting knocked out. MM quite rightly says, LLY2J over here. And Kyle also said, this man's spitting. And Triple.31 said bars. So
Did they?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm assuming you've
Jules also says, woo, surprise Sidge. Because, of course, it's nice to have you on here.
Indeed. Don't really get invited too often.
Yeah.
That's bad enough for you.
First person, you'll be pleased to know, first person in the chat. Thank you for your donation as well, Matt. Happy Friday, Wilborn and Phil, and enough of that. Shh. My king is here. Hope you all have a great weekend. Legend Lounge post in T-2 hours. Stay tuned. Cheers, guys. That's when you know it's Friday, isn't it?
It is. That's when I know it's Friday.
Should we take bets on what the beer's going to be? What ridiculous, ludicrous
He
beer
had
he's going to do this week?
He had a local Derby beer or whatever it was called, didn't he, last week ahead of Newcastle Sunderland?
Yeah.
Isn't it the Blue Monday this coming Monday? Maybe
Did you win the Derby, Hamford?
you got a boo-boo on your centre back.
We did. First try.
What's the big
try?
A Rumble beer? Is that too soon?
Yeah, probably too soon.
I'm sure it'd be like
Probably just some, like,
9.12%.
It's time to play the game! Time to play the game!
What is going to be the ABV?
Ooh, that's a better game.
I'm going to go 7.6.
Okay.
Conservative.
That is quite conservative.
gonna
I'll
go-
go higher. Why not? I'll go with a flat 8.
Ooh, I'll go 9.2.
Matt, you know what to do. Gimmick an old picture. Gimmick an old picture, lad.
Thanks to Sailor Airman, who says, Happy Friday to two of the happiest people at What Culture and grumpy old man Sidgwick.
Is that my gag? Actually, hang on. What time?
Oh.
Just looking to watch. What time is it?
Time to sing my gag!
I've been quite happy recently, me.
Yeah, Dynamite was great.
New year, new you.
Yeah, enough of that. No, not really. But I'm enjoying booking a blanket night before I go to the boudoir. Booking a blanket. Oh,
You've been going on about this for days.
I
now.
love it, man.
Like,
I
you've been taken
absolutely
over
love
by
it.
this
It's one of
fucking
those where
blanket.
it's like, why did I stop reading? It's so great. You don't know.
I'm going to get into reading this year. I'm going to start reading again.
January, pal. So
Yeah, I
Get on
know.
with it.
Well, the diet hasn't started either, so I'm just sort of delaying it, basically. But yeah, I will try. I don't think I read a book last year, if I'm perfectly honest.
No, I don't think I did either.
more bingo for me. I read a book all about Twin Peaks, actually. John Thorne. He was like the original guy who did a fanzine that helped it become a cult classic. So this guy got this indirect part in making the return a thing. Very indirect, but he kept that flame going.
Jules says booking a blanket sounds incredible. And Adam Zingales, who's at work again making night vision goggles. I love the fact that you...
Randy?
Send us some.
Yeah.
Steal some and send us them.
Asks, will AEW let Sting main event Revolution? Surely.
Well, I would be very wary of following that.
Yes.
Yeah.
If I was a wrestler, and not to be an incurable elite mark, but I'd be wary of following the Young Bucks when they're on form on any AEW pay-per-view.
And not just on form, like motivatedly on form as well. Because they all want to
absolutely.
make this good.
Oh, God, I think Hamflett pointed it out, and I agree with them, their reputation kind of needs it at this point. Like, they've taken a battering. Like, the knives are out for the Bucks. They need this as much as Sting. They'll be absolutely motivated for this. I would absolutely 1,000,000% have that as the main event. Tony Khan's got this philosophy. It's very Tony Khan. The world title has to main event every pay-per-view. It's tradition. It's not really tradition for a start. And, so the women's world title. He's deviated from it before. Anarchy in the Arena, Double or Nothing. Stadium Stampede, Double or Nothing. It's been a lights out, so there's precedent and it should happen.
Yeah, I think this is exceptional circumstances, isn't
I think
it?
Sting goes out on his back. Or do you think they win?
He's old school like that, isn't he?
But then, like, a lot of people that you would expect to be old school like that have recently been going out on wins.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't seem to be a thing anymore.
It's the kind of currency that they can dine out on the books. Like, we retired Sting is very on brand for their obnoxious, killing the business. And, like, I know Sting is like, and this is a compliment because he's magic at it, a Spotfest guy these days. But the idea is he's still held in great esteem, as he should be, as like this sort of legendary 80s figure of like a symbol of a business at a different time that people who hate the Bucks gravitate towards. So if they can like be the ones to take him out back and shoot him, right? That's pretty on brand for them.
It would be quite funny, though, as them arsehole heels, you know, they're completely deluded. To be like, we retired Sting, but they lost. Because Sting's always said he was retiring after Revolution.
Yes,
That'd
there's
be
no
quite-
bad result. There's no bad result.
No.
And, you know, like, I did have someone, and this is a good faith question, so I'm not going to insult the person. Like, do you not think, this question was posed to me, that it should go to a young, up-and-coming act? I've learned in the first 4 years of AEW's existence, so like I've relearned or whatever, this fabled rub of, you can beat Jericho and you'll make it. Like, it doesn't really work like that. I'm not saying wins and losses don't matter, but I am saying beating an established name and getting over, it's not as easy as that, ever.
Yeah, no, arguably you've seen that as well. When Austin Theory tried to be like, I beat John Cena, it's like, we still don't care about it.
Yeah, it's all about context.
Eric Vasquez says...
He could beat Andre the Giant and I wouldn't care about Austin Theory.
Eric Vasquez, thank you for your donation, Eric, says, what have you done for me lately, Hardy guys? Which is a fair assessment. What do you make of the Jeff Hardy? We're trapped in another dimension on Rampage.
Look, I'll repeat my take on the Dynamite review, which is available, of course, wherever you get your podcasts from. Like, even as a heel bait, where you're meant to say transgressive things that people get annoyed by, burying your own national TV show is the kind of stupidity I would expect from one of the Hardy brothers. Absolutely stupid and really entitled. And I think
it's a late stages WCW move.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely, Phil. And it's one of those where I can feel myself getting annoyed about it. But guess what? I didn't like the Hardy Boys before they made that comment. So it's not effective. They haven't said something provocative in a heel way, inflammatory, that has annoyed me. I'm simply, my resting state is being annoyed by the Hardy Boys and not wanting to watch them wrestle matches. It's a lot of tell, don't show. It's a lot of carny, succubus, entitled, resting on old laurels chat. I've got no time for the Hardy Boys, absolutely none. Because the thing is as well, people say, I know they can't move as well as it did. And neither can Hiroshi Tanahashi, and he can still deliver the magic. You know, you can't. There is a way of growing old gracefully in pro wrestling.
Literally just been talking about Sting.
Exactly, exactly. You can make the argument that a lot of wrestlers are way better the older they get because they know every single trick. And what have they done? They're just doing treacle version of their own old crap. Name a good chat. Hello, chat. Can you give me some examples, please, of genuinely great, and I know it's subjective, genuinely great Hardy Boys matches that did not involve any weapons or plunder?
It's a great question.
Read them out, and I'll
keep an eye out.
For the purpose of my narrative, I'll just say they were bad.
Andy says, enjoy WWE in 2023, but the hook was Cody getting back to the mountaintop. Now that Rock's work in Mania, fandom is undergoing an existential crisis. I haven't had a chance to get your thoughts on this whole thing.
Story to finish. It was Roman's story all along, guys.
It's Jey Uso's.
Got it all wrong.
Barton Keys actually has an interesting suggestion surrounding the Rumble.
Hey,
Barton says, probably not a fresh take, but it's just occurred to me. Cody is Mr. America. Punk is an unabashed Bret mark. Do we get a little Bret/Lex action at the Rumble?
Ooh.
Great shout,
that is
isn't
a
it?
great shout.
The Cody Tarbus.
He's got it already, hasn't he? Yeah.
Look, The Rock heavily hinted at having a match with Roman Reigns, who it is now being reported isn't at Australia, much less The Rock. So I'm a Cody Rhodes guy, and I'm getting a bit worried.
Yeah. He dedicated about half an hour to this last week on WrestleCulture. I thought it was just going to be a one and done thing, and you just keep going round and round in circles. And I've seen people, the lengths people go to try and get a Cody finish the story whilst also cramming this in. The worst, and I'm not pointing anyone out specifically for this, but people suggesting maybe Randy takes the title off Roman at the Rumble. Like the title reign ends there, also due to Rock interference in a 4-way. Just so Cody can beat Randy. I get it. People want to do Randy and Cody.
You, more than anyone, are well-versed in mental gymnastics.
Yes. And
it's your job.
Randy and... I get the Randy, legacy, da-da-da. That's not the story, though, is it?
No, absolutely not. I'd love to see the facts and figures and the data that WWE have behind the scenes of how much money The Rock brings in. Because of how much they are always willing to just throw everything out the window as soon as they get a sniff of a Rock comeback. And if the money makes sense, Like, I mean, can you really blame them? Like, I mean, you can be building a thing for years, but if you're going to make it like twice as much with a Rock return,
That's the
then
thing.
you're going to do that, aren't you? It's a wrestling business.
When
at the end
you
of the
are
day.
a publicly traded company and you've got a potential opportunity to say, I don't know, business isn't my thing, right? But say you've got this WrestleMania main event, and just for example's sake, Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns would bring in $100 million and would be a way better long-term play, and you would reassure your base who are really engaged and enthused for like the first time in years and years and years, potentially decades.
Thing you can't really count of what that would
Yes,
do
exactly.
for Cody going forward,
Exactly.
and how much more money you can
cannot,
make off Cody
you
for
literally
having that.
cannot account for it,
Yeah.
but it's got a value,
Yeah.
a major value that you can't account for, and then so that's 100 million. It's just a thought exercise.
Yeah.
Without all of that feeling amongst the fan base, right? 'Cause it's dollars and cents. Roman brings in like 135. They'll go, the extra $35 million, please,
Yeah.
and thank you.
Yeah.
When are the TV rights due as well?
Like, imminently, they've already
like,
sorted out
The moment you're getting the Rock
SmackDown.
back on your TV, that's the ratings are surely gonna go up. Just at least from casual people that are just seeing.
Oh, the
Dwayne
number
The
he
Rock
drew was
Johnson
a
back.
total monster. A
So then
total monster.
You've got that to sell your TV rights deals, which is something Cody could never do because
Well, it's imminent,
he's
isn't
not on the
it?
same
They've
level,
already
is he?
they've already sorted out thingy
Well, it's still-
SmackDown.
Yeah.
Like, there's-
Rumors about Amazon getting
Yeah.
more, aren't there?
There's nothing stopping them from striking a deal tomorrow. I don't think it's all in play.
So the more you get The Rock right now,
Yeah.
as TV companies are looking at what they can do, the better off they are.
Triple threat.
Sorry, Cody.
I've got the feeling they might do a triple threat now.
What have I just said, you dog, about mental gymnastics?
No, I'm not. I'm not suggesting I want to see that. I'm just thinking that they will try and have their cake and eat it too.
Are these ones the copium guys? Maybe.
Just Daryl says Cody Rock night 1, winner gets Roman night 2. You want Rock Roman, don't you?
Yeah.
It's one of those.
They want Rock Roman.
Yeah.
They want Rock Roman. They've wanted that match for years and years and years.
And they had the chance for them to do the Roman double bill last year when he had the 2 belts.
Yes.
Like, if you were going to do Roman on night 1, Roman on night 2, that was your year to do it. Not,
But it was Rock's availability.
yeah.
It's like,
So-
I'm not trying to be naive here or patronizing, but like we are approaching this from the POV of wrestling fans and desperately trying to make it work, and it just they don't care. They don't care. It's quite nostalgic, this.
Yeah.
Really allowing to be cynical about WWE and saying that they're going to break your heart. I've missed it. I've missed this.
In answer to your Hardy's question,
Yes.
Eric Vasquez says, I think I only ever liked the Hardys when they got their asses kicked.
Yeah.
Jeff eating Omaga's offense, OMG. Kyle says no. Bonky says no. Matt Rain says nope. Jules says, I remember seeing them arrive in WWF because they looked like us, and Lita was the first one I'd seen actually doing things other than standing on the apron. Can't remember a single match. Oh, Luke says, I don't know if there's a weapons, but there's a steel cage match versus the Bar at Extreme Rules in 2017 that was very good.
There's
Well, cage is a weapon.
I was gonna
I mean,
say,
just because
yeah.
WWE barely treats it like one, it's still
Yeah.
it's still a
and if
gimmick
you're
match.
including Cage, there's some great Hardy Boys, Edge and Christian Cage stuff.
I would say
But
great. I would say very good. But
it's still-
take the shortcuts away from that tag team.
May now says, just watched Hardys versus APA for the tag titles. It was pretty good. Sid would love the clothesline from Hell's hits.
But that's every match. No, I'm talking greatness. I'm talking FTR, Young Bucks level greatness, Rock and Roll Midnight's level, just get in the ring and do it greatness. And they were never that team.
Sailor Emmett says, at the end of 2024, what will be the best of the weekly shows?
Say again, sorry?
At the end of 2024, what will be the best of the weekly shows? Actually, Sailor Emmett also says, obviously, it's NXT, so they've covered my answer off.
Phil, you talk. I've talked a lot.
What's your favourite weekly show right now?
Right now, probably still SmackDown.
Yeah?
Because Raw's still the 3-hour
Yeah.
thing. It still takes a little bit away, even though it's loads better than it ever used to be when it was 3 hours. But SmackDown, I genuinely enjoy SmackDown as a
Flies
as a show.
by,
It does
doesn't it?
Fly by these days. And the clout they've put in it, like over the last sort of year, of like basically turning it into the A show in terms of the money that it brings in and the ratings that it got. It's genuinely my favorite show. I think Dynamite, if it keeps on how it's going, could get there. But like right now, for me, it looks like SmackDown could get. They can try.
They set such
they
a
can
high
try
bar.
and claw up there.
Yeah, for themselves, didn't they? That's the problem with Dynamite.
Yeah, of course it is. The worst episode of Dynamite's better than a WWE TV program. The thing with Triple H in his approach to TV booking is that people are different. Getting philosophical here on WrestleCulture. Right? People are different. People like Hamlet will say things like coherent, and he's like ready to rip his cock off. Oh my god, it's coherent. And like, oh my god, oh god, I'm gonna come. It makes sense. Some people are like that about, what I would describe as like the bare minimum for any sort of traditional fictional work. AEW can be all over the shop. It can depress me. It can infuriate me with what they rush, who they don't promote, who they don't follow up on. But the peaks are so like exciting. And Triple H is not. He's Missionary Jones, man. He just doesn't get. I was so shocked when he signed CM Punk and went for that move. It's like, you've done something exciting. A ball from the blue that you didn't have to do.
Against the green that you've probably had to eat some.
You've
to,
gone
like,
bloody
actually pull it
Missionary Jones went a bit al fresco, and I could not believe it. But what I'm trying to say is that Triple H hasn't got it. He hasn't got that dog in him to do like really exciting stuff. So I think it'll look exactly like it does now, and eventually it will get a bit boring, just like NXT. People pretended to watch the weekly product before it went to USA. It'll get like that. I don't think the numbers will suffer, but this whole Acclaim thing, it'll suffer. Dynamite will still be there. For me, surging with electricity.
For me, Dynamite needs to sort out the show itself. Like segments, they can do absolutely amazing segments. They obviously do absolutely amazing matches. But as a full show, putting it all together into one package just doesn't quite work for me the way it is. Like you're saying about some things being rushed, like they'll take like an incredible moment, and then like 2 seconds later they'll be bombed off to something else that nobody really cares about, and you just chopped off this moment that could have been a little bit of magic, and you could have just sort of wallowed in a little bit, like like you're booking a blanket guy now.
Yes,
that bit when you finish a book and you put it down, and you just have a little moment, and you're like, that's nice, and you just wallow in it a little.
One of my favorite things to do.
None of that in AEW.
When like I watch a film or even an episode of a TV program, I like to luxuriate in it, and I like to go on Wikipedia, just like the reviews and all the rest of it. I like to live in it. I do like to live in the experience, and like, there's none of that in Dynamite ever.
That's why I love NXT. You just get all of that. Get everything we've mentioned with SmackDown and with Dynamite all merged into one. It's going to overtake Dynamite this year, probably. So good.
It's already kicking Collision's ass.
Yeah. Actually, mentioning SmackDown, we had the new stable debut.
Like I'm grimacing at you.
Bloody good quiz to come. Final Testament, we believe they might be called. Me and Hamlet talked about it on the SmackDown preview earlier. We also came up with a new name for them, Mega Glove. After we went through a band name generator. Lee Wainwright says, hey guys, Mega Glove are going to be bigger than the Judgment Day and the Bloodline. Oh, sorry, are Mega Glove going to be bigger than the Judgment Day and the Bloodline? No, it's going to be weird. I'm kind of into it for the time being.
We ever had a stable with 2 managers before?
Yeah. Scarlett and Ellering, yeah, of course.
Surely AEW have done this. They must have. Lance Archer used to be managed by Dan Lambert and Jake Roberts all at once. Why? But he was. I don't know why, but he was for a while, and then he went away again, as he often does.
What was your reaction at seeing Carryon Cross team up with AOP?
I mean, it's something.
I want to look at it.
Yeah, it's like that bit when they were posing on the ramp looked good. I have no faith in any of it being good. It's something else for Carryon Cross. They needed to do something with him that was a bit different.
They don't need to do anything.
Well,
they do not need to do a
true.
damn thing with someone who habitually has proven himself incapable of getting over. It's harsh, but
I mean, if you're being harsh, they've already done the thing they should have done with Carryon Cross, and then they undid that thing and brought him back.
It's just he's never got over. But he loads of chances, him, doesn't he?
I think this is the final roll of the dice. It has
Have you
to
ever
be.
got him as a wrestler, like going back through his career?
No.
Nah, me neither.
Briefly when he was like
Impact instead.
murdering Ciampa in NXT.
That was Ciampa, though.
Yeah,
That was
it's one of
Ciampa.
those things where you look back now and say,
He's just not
never
dynamic.
clicked. Yeah, it's never
He's
clicked.
very, very sluggish. Like, very sluggish. I just find it so easy to drift off during his matches.
Promos are nothing as well.
Yeah,
they're,
just a lot
they're
of
another
words.
one of those saying a lot of words and saying absolutely
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah, he says
It's
nothing.
it's a package. It doesn't mean anything. It's just, look at this. This is vaguely visually appealing.
He's incredibly superficial. He's just not dynamic or interesting to watch wrestle. And, like, that's not necessarily the most important thing in the world. I mean, if you look at the Roman Reigns match layout, it's like hot cliche is better than, like, good, intricate, thoughtful, creative work. That's the defining trend of this century so far.
Yeah.
Like hot, popular, play the hits cliche. So I'm not advocating for, just it has to be an amazing match every single time.
But to pull it off, you've got to be an incredibly compelling character.
And he's not. He's gotten out.
Eric Vasquez says Carryon Cross's favorite search engine. Wikipedia.
Nice.
It's
Like those forearms to the back of the neck. You're meant to think, break a skull. You just think, I'd like to go to the Carryon Cross massage parlor. Got a kink in my neck. I think you could really work it out just nice.
STF for forearm.
Yeah.
I do like the that awesome video package. It's a bit of a guilty pleasure for him and Keith Lee with the Metallica soundtrack. But even that has him saying
You know what's really clever about it, Wilborn? In the song, James Hetfield sings "Fran tick tick tock," and that's his catchphrase.
The bit where he goes, start of it, it's the Keith winning the title at Great American Bash, and he's like, each day a man climbs a mountain, and only when he reaches the top does he realize it's a volcano. Is that how that works? I don't think that's anyway. And the grey
It sounds like the kind of sentence where it's like the person who wrote it's like, fucking get in. Oh, I am JD Salinger.
John Mayer, aka Mr. Lawton, says, "Hello, legends. Thoughts on Hangman finally being on Collision? We sort of didn't.
Mr. Lawton's a legend, by the way.
Didn't really take that into account on the Collision preview. This is Hangman's first appearance on Collision, of course.
Sorry, I was too busy putting over the guy.
Yeah.
What was the question?
Hangman being on Collision, first time, of course. Thoughts on that?
Not the first time he was referenced on Collision. Someone couldn't shut their stupid mouth, could they? I just think it's more of a regionalized bit of. You're going to get some noise in that building because it's Paige. I don't know what he does. If you want to know what we think he might
Also,
do.
there was a big reason why he wasn't on Collision for quite a long time, who has kind of got out the way now. So
Yeah, exactly. I think it's just a location-specific thing. I haven't got my hopes up, but a Hangman Page match is always a good time. I think they're like an impromptu thing on Collision, so maybe something along those lines.
yeah, I don't watch Collision.
Marcel Laviolette says,
Oh,
hey, Wilborn, Sagewick,
you're all
and
legends, by the way. You're
Choo
all
Choo.
complete legends.
Phil, ABV 8 flat is Marcel's guess for Mr. Reigns' beer.
Yeah.
What about a book, blanket, and a beer, he suggests? And do you think Joe loses the title to Swerve at Revolution?
I would. I don't know. I'm so fickle. I'm the worst person to ask for these sorts of questions. Like, it's a good question. It really is. And it's on a lot of people's lips. But my God, I'm the worst person. Because as soon as Full Gear happened, and like ahead of it, I was like, oh, Swerve's the guy. Swerve's the guy. And Joe has a title on his shoulder. I'm like, well, he's the guy. Then Paige says he wants a title. I'm like, well, give me some of that as well. I don't know. I just get all over the place. I feel like I get imposter syndrome when I get this question specifically because I'm thinking, AEW could do with disrupting the pattern of every world title reign goes long. I'm not saying you Russo it. I'm saying you change it up a little bit, deviate a little bit. So maybe it makes sense for Joe to be the one to have the short reign. But at the same time, did you hear that promo on Dynamite? Did you see the presence on the guy? Did you hear the phrase "ho-assed"? Because I did.
This is one of the things. If you'd asked me like a month ago, I'd be like 100% yes. Like if you were saying, Samoa's going to win this here. Like who? Like should someone take it off him there? And you said like you offered up Swerve as a potential. I'd be like hell yeah. Like Swerve's been on an incredible run in AEW. He's had some like booking problems, let's say, in terms of like a group he was in and the sort of Keith Lee stuff kind of vaguely going nowhere.
Yeah, that's right.
But whenever he is in matches and on promos, he's goddamn magic and he's amazing and he's a breath of fresh air in terms of that roster. He's completely different. He's very much himself. And I'd say like, yeah, absolutely strap him up and push him to the moon. But like this, then you just get this Samoa Joe being this Samoa Joe and this good.
Yeah,
and
he's
like,
awesome.
I do kind of want that to
He's
continue.
awesome.
But if you've got anyone that can either like explain away our loss or like massively put someone over in a loss but still keep himself up to the level that you need him to be, it's Samoa Joe. You just give him one microphone on the Dynamite afterwards and he'll save himself.
Yeah.
He's just that good.
I had something to say then, but I forgot what it was. Again, this is yet another problem, right? And I've made this point and I'll continue to make it until I'm blue in the friggin' face, is that he signed too many guys. And the byproduct is that there's multiple problems with having too stacked a roster. You don't get to see your favorites, etc., etc. The other one is this. It's like the second someone has a bad week, or like Swerve against Dustin, right? The second someone has a week where they don't feel like, oh, as hot as they were, or they have a match where it's like, oh, it could have been better or whatever, you instantly go to the 18 other options you could have at the top of that men's division. You do.
It's like
Wardlow got screwed by this.
Yeah.
All of that hard work, it might have worked had they not signed Cole, Danielson, Punk, and Keith Lee and everyone else when he finally got to the TNT title level. You know what I mean? Signed too many guys. That is the ultimate problem.
Wardlow's like one of those where it's like he's like ready to like be pushed to the very top, and like it's like if it's a logical course of if you follow on Wardlow's story where he was, to push him up to the top and make him world champion, but then you've got all these other people that are already at that level, and you've got no space to actually make someone, even though you're in the process of making them. So then where does that go?
Nah, he's got too greedy, Tony Khan.
It's a bad faith take that people have about AEW right now, but if I was booking AEW...
Like signing all these guys, it's just really Moorish.
it's people will say, oh, AEW's turning into WCW. If I was booking AEW right now, it would turn into WCW in the year 2000 because I'd go, right, Joe's got the title, and Swerve takes it off him. Then Hangman Page probably takes it off him at the next TV special or pay-per-view, whatever comes next. And then, right, we've probably signed some WWE guys at that point, so let's put it on Drew McIntyre for a bit. Actually, it's almost time for All In London. We need an English guy to win it now. That makes the most sense there, so we'll put it on Ospreay at that point.
Exit Wounds rematch?
Yeah.
In your lineage, it would be. Galloway, Ospreay.
Bloody great match as well.
It was class, eh?
Speaking of next champions, actually, Drew C says, any thoughts on the next champions for TNT International Continental Crown?
Oh, I remember when the All Atlantic title was first leveled up. Remember that? Yeah. We're leveling up the All Atlantic. I had the idea that the international title should be the preserve of like the Rush Takeshita's, like the international great wrestlers who come in, and with the way that North American episodic TV wrestling works, I hate this, but it's how it works. They don't get much mic time or whatever. You could have that really cool, we don't need to put some poor prick who's miles better than everyone else in the PC on NXT because that's how we do things. Front and center national television. Give a different stylistic range and all the rest of it to the international title picture. Honestly, Kenote Takeshita is so good that I would probably have him both. Like the TNT Open Challengers have Takeshita wrestle every single week. He's fantastic.
Yeah.
Takeshita to win a title. They're all sort of the same.
Yeah.
They're all just mid-card titles. Let's face it, that's what they are. Takeshita, it's just who I want to see wrestle, basically. Takeshita.
People saying Pac. People saying Pac in the chat, yeah.
Pac, I mean, I love Pac. Pac and Takeshita.
Jesus.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
So basically, in answer to your question, which is a good one, and again, it's hard because there's too many options.
Yeah.
Too many options. But Takeshita, I want to see wrestle every single week. It's disgusting how infrequently he wrestles when he's that good. He should be. He's a great wrestler. Put him on every single week if you can.
Just seen in the chat one Retro J, aka Jules.
Hello,
saying
What's an absolute ledge?
Just swinging by.
He is?
Yeah, he is.
Don't laugh at that,
I
Phil.
wasn't laughing at that. I was laughing at your delivery.
It was the freeze frame.
I think, yeah.
Just swinging by to say love these pod vids and big love to you lads. Thank you very much, Jules.
Big love
check
to
out
you, Jules.
UBP, of course, What Culture Gaming podcast. Check out all Jules' new stuff as well.
The Future Game Show.
Future Game Show.
Mr. Twilly says, cheers guys, any ideas for future Von Wagner stories other than him beating up 7-year-old bullies? Should explain. He threatened to beat up the bullies of Robert Stone's children, not just random 7-year-old children. We're actually going to introduce a new feature on next week's NXT preview. So I don't want to say too much about this, but we are hoping to see Von Wagner back on television ASAP in 2024.
Put him on Rampage tonight. That's how much I want to see him. Aye. So what was the question?
Ideas for future stories for him. Title, surely. Championships, yeah.
Championships, yeah, because the guy has opened up his heart to me. and he has let his walls down. He is bonded with that audience, and now that audience, well, me, wants to see him
Win the Royal Rumble.
Yes. Oh my god, I fucking love that. I love that so much. It's terrible. It's a terrible idea, but I would absolutely love it nonetheless. It's just it's charmed me.
Before we get to the hashtag Bully quiz, final couple of things I wanted to talk to you about. We have to talk about Tony can't hinder and Jinder. Your reaction to
We
all
don't have
this?
to. Twitter did. Doesn't mean we do.
Constantly.
Who cares? What a boring bit of bitch discourse that was. You know what? I'm opting out. Phil can talk about it. I don't care.
I think the biggest thing is, should someone just take away his Twitter at this point?
That's a probably broader question.
It's funny, but
It
it's
is
one of
very
those-
funny.
It's good for content, I guess.
Is,
Like,
is it
gets-
weird? Like, if you're an employee, and this is not me saying it definitely is this, because I know some people would be like, "Oh, it's so unprofessional." But do you think it'd be weird if you're like, you got Bryan Danielson there passing out fines left, right, and centre for social media conduct, and then you check on Twitter and your boss is like, "This sucks," and I'll fight you actually. And da-da-da.
It feels very much like it's out of the CM Punk beating people up backstage school of business. Like, it gets people talking, but is it really best for your company in the long run?
when the patter's good, I'll take it, but the patter's bad now.
Yeah.
He hasn't got a leg to stand on. He's lost his...
I think he lost it as soon as he hired Ric
Ric
Flair.
Flair, yeah, absolutely. He is... There's a phrase that's bubbling up that's eluding me, but I just hasn't got a leg to stand on. It's increasingly pathetic. The patter's not good. Like when he was like kind of babyface, big bicep tone, it was funny. It was interesting. Sounds like a wrestler playing full of wrestlers going on to Saudi Arabia. It's like, Gah!
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now it's like you signed Ric Flair. Like, you can't bury... I'm doing it! You can't bury... It's up my ass. You can't bury the booking of Jinder Mahal and look at Taya Valkyrie's cage match at the same time. It's pathetic. She lost she lost a few matches and then lost the opportunity to fight for the TBS title and then just, oh, here's a world title shot. You do. Sting and Darby Allin, right, should have been number one contenders to the tag team titles. If wins and losses did matter, which is the point he was broadly trying to make 3 years ago.
And the other thing I wanted to mention is the rumoured returns for the Royal Rumble. Apologies for that.
It's okay because you weren't trying to like show off. The thing you tried to say just happened to have every
Yes.
word beginning with the same letter. So I don't think you were being a dickhead there because you weren't trying to show off with something that you learn maybe in secondary school and think you're clever for doing.
It's they're like, I'm not sure if you noticed there, but that was a nice bit of alliteration. Like, yeah, we can all do it.
And that's the worst thing. Like, everyone can do it.
Yeah. They're like, oh, check this out.
Check this out. Check out this.
Names this week coming out, Phil. Naomi, who's wrestling Hard to Kill, of course, this weekend. Liv Morgan and potentially X-Pac. That'd be
Liv
awesome.
Morgan's like a full-time member of the roster.
Yeah,
How's
For
this
a while,
news?
though, it's still a return.
right, you know, her run.
Have they gone wild for her yet?
For a while, her run, you could say, kind of went up in smoke.
Wasn't it like a gummy or something, an edible?
I don't know.
It's gone done for the most pathetic amount. Like, come on, America.
If they tried
Florida.
I thought America loved it.
It's Florida, though, isn't it? Come on.
How's Florida not legalized states?
It's such a, like, some states I
Florida's
think are
just
like,
so backwards.
no, prison, 20 years. The other one's like, welcome across the border. There you go. There's your compliment.
Isn't it Bath Salt City?
Yeah, yeah. If they tried to book Liv,
No offense to the Floridians.
if they tried to book Liv Morgan on 420, but they left it a little bit late, is there any like phrase that a friend of yours used to say that she might say?
Stand already.
Do you want to see X-Pac in the Rumble? It'd be great, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I'm always willing to see X-Pac.
I book him
Royal
every
Rumble.
year in it, I think.
In a
Him and Too
bid,
Cool every year.
in a bid to manifest it, I book Waltman to be in it all of the goddamn time. Like, all of the goddamn time. My crusade in life is to abandon the term X-Pac heat.
Yes.
Expunge it from the vernacular forever.
Vanders says.
I mean, all he did was stick around a year after he was a bit relevant and over.
Yeah.
No one trying
Corbin, Ziggler.
to please
Miz.
retire at him.
Yeah, Corbin, Ziggler, Miz, Morrison. Like these people who've been around for years and years and years and years and years, and I have to watch them from our work. He stuck around longer than him.
Vanders says Jacqueline for the Rumble just for the 13-year-old boy Sidgwick.
And if you want to know why, you can check out the What Culture Podcast live show on YouTube right now.
Naomi would be a great return for WWE, of course.
Naomi would be absolutely great, yeah. Although she does kind of vaguely steal back her entrance from Katana Chance and Caden Carter, who has does very similar vibes going on.
Should probably be friends because
But
they
do it look
bloody
better.
love to party. That's
Yeah,
why.
they do.
Finally, before we get to the hashtag bloody good quiz, Eric Vasquez says surprises you'd love to see in their respective Rumbles. Personally, I know it's not happening, but Big E would be breathtaking for me.
Breathtaking.
Freudian slip, you
For
like
me,
that, don't you?
Titty Master would be breathtaking for me. I'd pop hard. It's one
Big
of
E
those ones.
would be wonderful.
If I secretly knew that he was fine,
Yeah.
I'd be happy to sit here and say, God, wouldn't it be great to see Big E? But it's one of those ones. If he's not, he must just be horrible. He's like, you never know, Big E's like, no, I
every
literally
time
can't.
something
Oh,
comes
it's
up,
heartbreaking.
like, oh, go on, do
It's
it.
heartbreaking. Not to piss on your chips, but WWE rarely does anything really fun in that regard. They're going to sign someone, bring them in there. I know they did AJ Styles, but there's a lot of rule-proven exceptions. They'll probably get whichever road agent used to be a worker. So look forward to Road Dogg of the Hurricane, guys.
Stick with me on this.
Hello.
Is there a chance, what with him just getting a Legends contract, that Ken Shamrock makes an appearance? Not going to do a lot. Just hoist, like Dominic Mysterio's like, come on, who's coming out next? Shamrock, bitch.
That would be
very funny.
That would be like Shamrock
Poise
and
out-
Dominic Mysterio would be
Poise
cool.
out Dominic Mysterio, and then him and Chad Gable have a bit of a
Yeah.
tip for tat.
I mean, that would be awesome.
That would be really good fun.
Were there any like mystery entrants last year? Because that was the first Triple H one, wasn't it?
Yeah, I've got a terrible memory for that.
I don't think there was.
2023. Do I see he's time to game?
It's time to play the game! Time to play the game! Ha 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 ha!
Useless.
I'm looking at this year's. That's the wrong one. 2023. So entrant number 1 from both Rumbles. Can you remember?
Oh my god, I'm
Gunther?
so bad at these.
Gunther.
Correct. Women's. Get this.
Oh, it was Rhea.
Yes.
She won it.
In the women's match, you had all SmackDown and Raw other than Roxanne Perez and Zoe Stark, who did great in both performances. I thought were sensational.
Yep, really worked out for Roxanne Perez. That
Zoe
call-up
Stark was in there for 27 minutes, basically.
Yeah, that's not impressive. They do this every year, and don't get worked by what it says on Wikipedia. What did she do?
I remember her kicking some ass. She didn't get any
I think
eliminations.
she looked really good.
She didn't get any eliminations. How much ass can she kick then?
Chelsea Green was in there for 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Did Michelle McCool get in
Michelle
again?
McCool. Oh, yeah, that was when she was like, yeah.
I don't take my jacket off.
I think the Chelsea Green thing proves your point more than anything about looking at the numbers of like she did more in 5 seconds to be remembered from that Royal
Yeah.
Rumble than a lot of people will do in like 15, 20 minutes.
Correct.
Indy Hartwell made an appearance, and of course Nia Jax came in number 30. In the men's, oh yeah, it's mainly Raw and SmackDown, other than Brock, who came in for 2.5 minutes. Booker T.
Oh,
Ed,
book. The book was booking it.
I don't remember this, but yes, apparently.
Book. Just a sexy book. Sexy book. I'm not your sucker. Suck. It's the best. It's the best.
And of course Logan Paul. Last year's Rumble entrance, number 29.
Road Dogg and the Hurricane.
Braun Breaker.
Please.
You'd be awesome in a Rumble.
Yeah.
Be so good. In terms of women, as always, Molly Holly.
Always.
Every year.
To kick Nikki Cross
Yeah,
out, obviously.
Nikki Cross comes in and just like stands around. Molly Holly's like,
Molly go
time for
around.
payback.
Jackman
Get
for
her
me,
out.
probably. I'm just watching.
All right, final question comes from Mr. Phoenix. In honor of TNA returning, I offered 2 crossover matches: Cesaro versus Josh Alexander versus Gable, and
Hello.
Ripley and Flair versus Statlander and Perazzo versus Masha Slamovich and
Perazzo's
Killer
all
Kelly.
elite. So
For a second there, I was like, why the hell are you booking Rhea Ripley and Ric Flair in a match?
Yes, I quite like that as a sort of 3-way Forbidden Door: TNA, Fed, and AEW. Cesaro, Josh Matthews, and Chad Gable would be
That
insane.
would be an incredible match.
that would be really, really strong. Aye.
Rhea Ripley, Charlotte Flair, Chris Statlander, Deonna Purrazzo, and Masha Slamovich and Killer Kelly. Jesus, Mr. Phoenix.
How long has Josh Alexander got on his TNA contract?
I don't know.
He's a very Triple H signing, isn't he?
Yeah.
Quite rightly.
Yeah.
Quite rightly.
Right, well, we'll keep your comments coming in because they'll need your help for their phone. Hang on, where is it?
No wonder.
Phoner. But enough of all this. It's now time for a bloody good quiz. And this week's quiz is brought to you by Chris Bradshaw. If you want to have your name associated with the hashtag Bloody Good Quiz, you can leave us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts or leave us a 5-star rating on Spotify. Screenshot it
We need the proof.
and email it to me, adam.wilborn@whatculture.com. And like Chris Bradshaw has, Chris writes, love all the shows you guys do. You make this wrestling thing even more fun and have really helped me push through some mental health issues in 2023. So just want to say thanks. You're more than welcome, Chris.
You're welcome.
Whilst waking up early for the first derby in many years, so it was from the weekend, I had a thought on WrestleMania main event night 2. There are that many main eventers now. How epic would this be? WrestleMania night 2 main event. Hell in a Cell, 6-man.
Bringing back Armageddon 2000.
Yeah, I love that so much, man. It was like the most Attitude Era thing. The 6 of the best, and they're in Hell in a Cell. Oh, that
It's
was
like as a send-off for the Attitude Era. You
Yeah.
can't really get much better.
jacked it.
Roman Reigns, CM Punk, The Rock, Randy Orton,
Yeah.
AJ Styles or LA Knight or Drew. I can't decide on the 6-man. And the winner, Cody Rhodes. What do you think? Oh, sorry, twist ending. Damian Priest cashes in at the end.
I mean, why wouldn't you after that match?
Insane.
Who gets chucked off the top onto a hay truck?
Oh, yeah, that just so happens to be there. AJ?
Southern
Yeah.
Farms. So
Something about proving flat Earth is wrong.
Can you guess what this week's quiz
I didn't land on no curve. Did I?
Any guesses what this week's quiz is all about?
What's happened
What's
this
been
week?
in the news?
Backstage fights.
10 questions, multiple choice. Shout your name, wait for me to come to you. And guys, remember, it's just for fun.
Just for fun. I hate doing quizzes against any other Dudley boys, Jesus Christ.
So, question number 1. What did Sin Cara allegedly throw at Simon Gash to give him a black eye?
Sidgwick. Can of pop.
Okay, I've got some funny options here.
Okay, I'm sorry, I forgot it. I'll do the funny options next time.
Okay, I'll
Got
get-
the answers on
He
the
actually
point.
he works hard on his funny options. I said this before. Like sometimes you see Wilborn, who's like as much of a clown downstairs as he is in the studio, and like sometimes you turn around, and you go, "Oh, Wilborn," and then like, oh, hang on, he looks deep in concentration. He's got his headphones in. He's like that. Like, oh, he looks really hard at work here. I shouldn't bother him. And I always forget. Oh, he's doing his funny answers for his quizzes.
You
He was
say it.
doing it before, but then you could just start hearing his, seeing his head bop and then his hand go, and he's trying to get the beat to the goddamn song.
Goes to LL Cool J. You say a can of soda
Yes.
is correct. Your other options would have been aid in English, a chair, or a bra. And why would he throw a bra at Simon Gotch?
Because you throw a bra at Simon Gash. Simon Gash, she's got a pair of titties like a 65-year-old woman. How you doing? Eyes to Simon. He's got a little bitch tit hanging out of his Andre the Giant singlet. Double pop.
Question
And
number
if you don't know what that's referencing, how are you on you?
Yeah, it's probably in your thing right now.
Yeah.
Probably.
It's just every single one if you've never clicked on it. Come on, click on it. Question number 2. Where did Joey Styles knock out JBL? Was it in a bar, on a plane, in a hotel room, or at the zoo?
Sidgwick on a plane.
I believe they were
Wish it was
flying
at the
back from
zoo.
Afghanistan, and JBL said, I'm not drinking. So they took the piss out of him, and he was like, oh, well, I'll show you drinking.
It's like, it's kind of harsh. As much of a dickhead JBL is, he's like, I'm trying to be good. Yeah. It's like, you lousy asshole, get drunk now. Get drunk and belligerent for
And
me,
he proved his own
asshole.
point of
Yeah,
the
I
reason
know.
why he wasn't drinking
Yeah.
in the first place.
So what happened to you, JBL? You used to be a horrible bully. It's like, I still am.
He lost a step.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. A horrible place. And you and Hamflet are apologists for this culture.
Tactical Penguin says Malachi Black returns in the Rumble via the ring splitting apart, and he does his old rising up entrance.
Out the middle of the ring.
Hello.
Then what if it spins around, man?
2-0 to Sidge. Question number 3. Batista and Booker T got into a fight when filming a commercial for what? SummerSlam, shampoo, sandwiches, or Super Smash Bros?
Phil. SummerSlam.
Stuff. Question number 4. Which WCW...
If you start beating me, I will not let me go through the funny options. I just won't. It's only the result. Anyway.
Question number 4. Which WCW jobber did DDP once get into a fight with? Is it Horace Hogan, The Gambler, Firebreaker Chip, or Disco Inferno?
See what you did there.
Oh, I don't know the answer here. What are the
Nah,
options
me neither.
again?
Horace Hogan.
Phil. That one.
No, dear, that's wrong.
I'll take my chance.
Too politically connected. You don't fight Horace Hogan. It's Hogan's
Yeah, this is
nephew.
true, yeah.
Yeah. Horace Hogan, The Gambler, Firebreaker Chip, or Disco Inferno?
I'm going to go. Ooh,
Still could use
Could
your...
it have been because he had a bit of a gambling thing? Maybe the Firebreaker Chip.
Do we know why? Or have you not researched that
I
far?
think he was... Because it was early days for DDP. He wasn't... He was... Firebreaker Chip, I think, was actually the guy going over. DDP was in his, job early stages because he'd only just transitioned from being a manager and what have you. And I think he was just all taking a bit of liberties. DDP was like, I'm not having this, actually. Bollocks. We'll have words. And he comes back through the curtain and it all kicked off. Question 5. We mentioned him earlier. Enzo Amore and Joey Janela once got into a fight at which band's gig?
Sidgwick, but do you know it?
I don't think... I'd probably know it from the answers, but I wouldn't know it from
Okay.
it.
I want to win. You could do. You could have picked. It was Blink 182.
Metallica, Foo Fighters, and One Direction. Halfway point, 4-1. Phil, you can still get back into this.
Yeah, probably not.
Question 6. Yoshitatsu once slapped Sheamus because he refused to clean what? Was it his gear, his blender, his cutlery after using it, or his teeth?
Phil is gear, Charlie. Come on.
No, dear, that's wrong.
What are the other options?
Blender, cutlery, or teeth? Still got your phoner? You need it?
Options one more time, please.
Blender, cutlery, or teeth? What did he refuse to clean?
Now, you know what? This sounds like a
British
Wilborn
teeth
answer.
Gag.
It sounds like a Wilborn answer for comedy. Was it the blender? Yes. I thought it was the blender.
Everyone in the comments saying blender as well. Right? Marcel Vanders, Michael Everett,
go.
well done.
Those
Question.
protein shakes and
Yeah.
stuff. You gotta have a clean blender, I suppose.
Hey, big spender.
Clean your blender.
Just think of that. What's that? 5-1.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can only draw now.
Okay, 4 questions to go. So, who threatened to finish JBL unless he apologized in front of the whole locker room? Was it Steve Blackman, Hardcore Holly, Ken Shamrock, or Golga?
Phil, why not?
Tough choice.
Shamrock.
No, dear, that's wrong.
Steve Blackman.
Between those two.
Is it a baggage claim, I think?
But like, Terry was like, sorry about that. And he's like, no. We do this in front of the locker room. I love Steve Blackman for that. Question 8. Why did Paul Orndorff and Tony Atlas get into a fight in 1982, allegedly? Is it who had the bigger muscles? Leg room in the car? Who could hold their breath the longest? Or whether the earth was flat?
Leg room.
Leg room.
Fight! Over presumably
Well-
a bit of man spreading.
Well,
Yeah.
I might have written an article and researched things and learned this one a few years ago or whatever. Maybe even very recently. Either way, I know the story of leg room. What's funny about it is like I read that and I was like, what a ridiculous thing to fight about. And then I thought, wait. I was on the metro last night, right? I was on the metro last night. And actually, no, on my commute to go to work and then to go from work to home. This happened to me twice, and it has happened to me multiple times in my life, and people should be jailed who do this. They either have the window seat, right, and put their bag next to it, or they take the aisle, leaving the window seat free, hoping that no one's going to ask me to move because that's socially awkward. You haven't met Mr. Etiquette here. I am the etiquette vigilante. So the first time...
The Larry David of Newcastle.
Yes, no, honestly,
I've got a lot. I could never do this, but I have a lot of
I'm the
respect
George
for it.
Costanza. I am the George Costanza. Right. So the first one, young lad, bag there. It's not my property. Picked it up and put it in his lap and sat down.
Did you? You literally? There you
I
go.
just picked it up and put it in.
Oh my god, the balls!
Love it. Big fan.
Thing is, like, looks like he's quite a large youth. You probably kick my ass, but no one's gonna do it. People don't want to fight. People would rather go outside. No one wants to go outside. They just want to stay outside. That's the rule. No one wants to go outside. They just want to stay outside.
I've heard that phrase in the last 7 days. Someone shouting outside.
Yeah, me too. So I just got the bag. Went, there you go. You sit down. I was
Pat in the bag. There you go.
I was amiable about it. I was like, there you go. As if to say, I'm sitting down.
Yeah.
I paid my money, and then
What if? Here's a question. What if they go? I've bought a ticket for the bag. They've got 2 tickets.
shut up. Well, like the bag could stand up just like all the other
Point. Yeah.
all the other commuters. And then on the way home, there was someone sat in the aisle with a window seat vacant. And I'm not climbing over.
I was going to say, do you force them
Yeah.
to move over, or do you do the awkward step across?
I don't know. I'm not going to do the awkward step across. I don't want to touch these people. I don't want to dry hump anyone on my commute. So what I do instead is I just go, can you move, please? Can you move? And then they do the, for audio listeners, they do the legs, the knees go a little bit like that. The knees go a little bit like that. So you got an easier passage to the window seat, but they're still not being that they're not moving for you.
Yeah.
But at that point, you just have to go. And what really annoyed me is I've got my backpack on.
I was going to say, you got, yes.
I have a backpack, right? So I'm not going to sit with my backpack on like I'm
Squashed up to the seat in front of you.
like this, right? And I'd been to Tesco.
Oh.
I'd bought, amongst other things, 2 bottles of pop. So I had quite a heavy bag. So what's going on my knees?
Yeah.
If I have the aisle and just move like a decent human being,
Alongside you, or
I can put it there until someone wants to get up.
trolley comes through. Or,
Yeah. So I just went, and then probably mutton, bitch, under my breath. And then I saw this person, I think the people on the opposite aisle seats knew each other because I saw the one who'd been chatting to the person who just moved, and she went, you know, that kind of voice where I was like, hey, look at him. That's someone who plays by the fucking rules. That's who him is. I'm him.
I am him.
I am him. And It turns out she was on the aisle because she was getting off at the next stop, so she didn't want to go in the window. That's a different thing.
Okay.
But what you do in that situation, Adam Wilborn, Phil Chambers, the chat, what you do in that situation is that you talk to someone like a human goddamn being and say, oh, can you just go there? It's just that I'm getting off at the next stop.
Yeah.
So when they have a fight over leg room, which ties back to wrestling on WrestleCulture, I completely get it.
There's also more to the legroom thing, because if, like, say you're both on the passenger side of the car, if one of them's in the front and one of them's on the back, and the guy in the front pushes the seat back,
Yes.
that's a bit of a dick move.
That's a dick move. There's loads of dick moves you can make. There's loads. That's a dick move. And you know what? There is a phenomenon as man spreading. When people are like, it's like, oh, come on, just close your legs.
Yeah.
Close your legs.
They're not that big.
Exactly. Dawdling by the doors when you're trying to get off the train as well. Oh my God, that drives me absolutely insane. I repeat, I do not want to dry hump anyone.
Yeah.
I do not want to dry hump anyone. So why can't you just either move, or as I do every single time, I anticipate. I've got too much empathy, that's my problem. If I'm just standing up because the seats are full, right? And I can see someone, and you see the desperation in their eyes.
Yeah.
And I'm an empathetic human being. If I can feel someone trying to move out, and I can see in their eyes going, oh, how do I get out? I just feel for people in that situation. So I'll give them a little signal. I'll get off. And then, oh my God, it's such an inconvenience. If I get off the train, I'm going to spend 2 seconds of my life getting back on it.
Yeah.
Right? Just move. Otherwise, if two people are standing quite close to each other, right, and they refuse to budge to make way for you to exit the train, which often happens on a crowded rush hour metro, I'm going to have to drive home. I don't want to do this.
I hate it when you're about to get off. I've been on a train for ages, but I hate trying to get off. And people, the door, everyone, I get it, everyone's keen to get on the...
This is why I am the way I am, by the way. But if I just drove and learned how to drive, which I can't do, by the way, at 17, it could have fundamentally altered the trajectory of my life and how
then
I
you've got
am.
the potential of road rage and how much that
That's
might
why I
affect.
haven't done it, actually. That's why I haven't done it.
It's fine, actually. The drive, I like the driving. It's a nice little
Sorry, what were you
little
saying?
soundtrack.
What were you saying?
When you're about to get... It's a really busy train, usually London, this obviously. Really busy train or tube or whatever. And everyone on the platform's like, well, whatever happens, I'm getting on this next tube.
Yeah.
I assume this was like this for All In. I dread to think what that must have been like. When they go, well, the doors are going to open there, so I'll stand right in front of them.
Yeah.
Where am I going then?
Yeah.
How am I getting off to make...
Anyone who tries to get on a train before the people that are on the train have left the train should be banned for life.
I think
They should be jailed.
I think you should be allowed to like Darby Allin, just run at her and just dive.
They should be jailed, honestly.
Jailed.
There should be some kind of penalty because it's the only way we're going to learn as a society.
Yeah.
I'm a very, very harsh.
Genuinely
judge
one of
these
the best
sorts
things about Japan. Like literally, there's a little queue and it's lined on the platforms, and they know exactly where the train's going to stop on each platform, so they know where the doors are going to be, and it stops there every goddamn time. And there's a little line that makes you stand just to the side of where the doors come off. The doors open, everybody gets off, the line goes on, and because you're already in a line, you're already in a queue, so you're like whoever's at the back of the line is the right back, and you got to get in on that train now.
Sorry.
And everybody respects it,
God.
and everybody follows the rules, and it works perfectly.
Oh my God.
So I can understand why they had the fight.
It's really cathartic hearing you go through this, and I could sit here and listen to you talk about it all day. One final thing I wanted to ask you about: what is your stance on an overcrowded but pre-booked seat tickets?
If you have gone to the effort of booking yourself a seat, you get the seat. Case closed. Unless I saw someone like heavily pregnant or really old, I would give it up.
Yeah.
Someone in the chat, said earlier on about the bag. What if the bag's pregnant or elderly? What was it? Do you take your backpack off if you're standing? Says Barton.
It depends entirely on proximity to other people. If like it's very, very crowded, I will in fact put it. I'll try because, right. I'll describe this. I'll describe it because I'm on an audio podcast, right? The way I look at it, right, is that it's about a foot depth of a foot, my backpack, right? So the way I see it is if I have that on my back and it's very crowded, it's a bit inconvenient. I've got size 8 feet, so I'm losing half of the bag depth by putting it against my shins and on my feet.
Play.
I'm making space for you. By the way, I dropped I was having a rant about these things happen to me all the time. I'm the only one who cares. I had a similar rant, and I dropped the same thing to Francis. Like, I'm like an etiquette vigilante. She just looked at us like I'd given it. Not only the ick was given to her, but she's like, why did I marry this guy? What have I done with my life?
Here we go. What was another question? Cosmic Joe, throw the conductor off the train even when I have tickets. Steve Knievel says, come for the wrestling banner, stay for the complaints about public transport. Absolutely. And Jules says, I want to live in a utopia where the public transport is designated by Dadleys and Phil.
Yes.
100%. I would
Absolutely.
much more prefer this.
Barton says, I had a lad in my seat once. You'll enjoy this. Just sit back and enjoy this. I had a lad in my seat once, and he said, I don't see your name on it. And I slowly pointed at my name on the sign above his head.
Yes! I'm such a coward in so many other areas of my life.
This is what I'm actually
way.
genuinely quite fascinated about you,
Yes.
is that you are, I don't think you'll mind me saying, you are a coward in many
Yes.
situations.
Yes.
But in this, you're like ridiculously brave. And
Yes.
I don't understand
Yeah,
how this
I could
works.
never-
It's like the weird duality of situations.
You know what I think it
It
is,
does not
right?
fit
You know what I
together.
think it is? Like, when, like, you got your middle manager and they've got a tiny amount of power going to their head and they're just awful with it. That's like me on public transport. I measure the situation.
what's right.
And it's like, I don't have to worry about this the next day. I'm probably not going to see this person.
Yeah.
Right? Because the people who, you'd spot names on a usual commute, because they do it every single day, they tend not to dare. Like, they wouldn't. Like, if I know this person because I see them every single morning because they get the train at the same time, they're not going to window seat me because they know they have to see me.
You've been window seated.
They're not going to window seat me because they know I have to see them the next day. It feels like I can get away with being a little bit more brass-necked than I usually am.
The power of anonymity and righteousness.
Yes.
Chris Miles says,
I'm not a good guy. Either the etiquette vigilante...
Chris Miles.
etiquette vigilante, you either die young or live long enough to become the villain.
Chris Miles says, the etiquette vigilante sounds like an excellent wrestling stable.
Honestly, I was
That'd be a
tempted.
great 6-episode Netflix show.
I was tempted to base that kind of thing on a novel when I wanted to write it.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll tell you what we should do. Here's an idea for more content. You know, there's all those people who are like, oh, here's my vlog from my bike ride to work, and it's all the terrible people in London cutting up chest cam for Sid.
Chest cam on a train.
Every day.
Little hidden camera. Sid's on a
going,
train.
Is your bag, mate? Oh, I'd just love to live that
Sid is on a
POV
train.
experience. There's one more thing I want to say. Oh, yeah, the only caveat I will say to all this.
Should we just start train culture? And
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
The only thing I will say that is quite right by Vanders in this on the comment section is when people queue for a plane. I think it's the maddest thing I've
Oh,
ever
yeah, that's
seen.
the dumbest thing ever.
Oh,
Plane,
that's the
it's
complete
not
opposite to
leaving.
this. You've
Just because you
literally
get
been
on it
assigned
early
a
doesn't
seat.
mean it's going to leave.
You've literally been assigned
Yeah.
a seat, and they've said these group of people board. And even when they say these people board, I go, well, there'll be about 20 people before me.
This
so
is
I
where
can
I
sit down
know
longer.
Sidgwick is completely backwards, because you will get up and get as early as possible
you in the
to
queue?
stand in that
Oh,
queue.
brilliant.
Because I've seen you.
We are the complete opposite, me and Phil.
We broke up at the airport specifically because you and Murray went to get on the plane early, and me and Nicholas were like, just, nah, we're not getting on yet. This is stupid. So, like, yeah, you go do you.
Or when we went down to Wembley, Phil Chambers, honestly. So me and Andy are a little bit skittish about the whole. We just
Getting
want to
there
get.
on
We just want
time.
to get there on time and get on the train. So we were like, all right, Greg's. I turned up like half an hour before Murray even. Get my Greg's, just get my bearings. Like, right, I'm here 45 minutes or 50 minutes before the train, just so I know I can't leave. He got on with 10 seconds to spare, and he wasn't even flustered.
The train was moving before I'd found my seat.
Yeah, he wasn't even flustered.
Right.
It makes me sick.
But I got on, baby.
I know, but one day.
You're vindicated.
Vindication.
Finally.
Final couple of questions.
Oh, yeah.
We're doing the quiz. Question 9. What 3-word phrase did Rob Van Dam tell Taz before their backstage fight? Was it pick a hand, let's dance, bitch, GFY, I'm not making more work for myself, but you know what that stands for, or losers say what?
Sidgwick, pick a hand. I feel like I wrote the list this is based on.
I had to knew that one as well.
That episode of It's Always Sunny when
they
Charlie
write the
was like one of the people sampled for the questions.
I like the idea of...
Well, the Charlie McDennis answers.
Yeah,
Because he's a bastard man.
Ooh! Because Dennis is bastard man.
I just like the idea of RVD going, let's just say what? And Taz goes, what? Final question. Question 10. What was Sin Cara doing to spark a fight between him and Chris?
Second Sin Cara fight.
He's
Bloody
had a few,
hell.
hasn't he? He's like, what, 3-4-0? Something like that?
Scrappy do.
What was Sin Cara doing to spark a fight between him and Chris Jericho during a bus ride on a European tour?
The bus ride from hell.
Was he throwing food? Was he constantly singing the wheels on the bus for 7 hours? Was he making fart noises? Or was he constantly getting the lyrics to Fozzy songs wrong?
What's the first option?
Throwing food.
food.
Sidgwick throwing food.
I love the idea of Sin Cara just sat there throwing food at Jericho.
Yeah.
I'll get him eventually.
Well, I hate to break it to you.
No, dear, that's wrong.
Oh.
What were the other ones?
Constantly singing the wheels on the bus.
Really hope it's that one.
Making fart noises.
Fart noises.
Or getting the lyrics to Fozzy songs wrong. One of these is...
There's only one song anyone knows the lyrics to get wrong.
Was Fozzy? Did anyone know any Fozzy lyrics back
Judas
then?
has been around for ages.
Has it?
He just
In
repurposed
Sin
it.
Cara days?
You looked like, if you watch a music video for Judas, he's got his like, basically
he's short hair,
Yeah, he's short hair.
Fart noises.
Yay!
I really hope it was full on, like, they're sat on the bus. Everyone's trying, it's, a long European tour. Their body clocks are all over the place. And he's not just, I don't know, going, I hope he's got on the full. What will that? Sage, pick a number.
what-
Like those
numbers?
old kids' toys
Yeah.
that have the like different fart sounds.
1 to 19.
9, Shira.
Phil?
18.
Good choice.
That sounds like the start to. Yeah, this is very, very specific, right?
Play it again as you talk about this.
There is a new metal band, quite obscure, called Taproot.
Yeah.
That effect sounds exactly like the first opening to a song they have called Again and Again. Do it one more time.
Hang on, I'll find the song.
Chat.
One final thing before we wrap up, because the one thing from the chat, from the AEW
ready?
Women's Division blog, Travis D. Legend here. Oh, sorry.
Chat, pick a number between 1 and 20, and the first person gets a noise.
And whilst I'm waiting for
Person
that,
gets a fart.
Travis D. Legend says, I recently learned that Booker T's music is fully licensable. Who on the AEW roster should inherit this goated theme?
Who's got the most heat?
Darby Allin.
Yeah, imagine that. Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Sorry. So before we finish, Michael Everett says 8. Vasquez 13.
Why did I do this?
Maynow.
We don't have to do them all.
Maynow says, well, we've got a couple to do. Maynow says 17. Well, the game stopped. I don't know how to get rid of this. Go away.
Oh, God damn it.
It's like Tetris, but I don't want to play it. Go away. So there we have it. Congratulations to Michael Sidgwick, the winner of this week's quiz. Let us know how you got on, either in the comment section or on X at WhatCultureWW, of course.
Let us know what annoys you on train.
But whilst you're on there, you can follow all three of us. You can follow Phil Chambers on X at
Fill my chambers. You can follow Cedric at
Sidgwick, and you can follow us all
at WhatCulture
Yeah, don't follow Wilborn.
Follow me as well, whilst you're there. At Adam Wilborn. And make sure you subscribe to What Culture Wrestling, wherever you get your podcast from, for daily wrestling podcast. The AEW Collision preview with myself and Michael Sidgwick is available right now. And the SmackDown preview with myself and Michael Hamlet, where we come up with Mega Glove, is available as well right now. But for now, this has been WrestleCulture. My thanks to Phil, to Sidgwick, to Jules in the chat, to everyone in the chat. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you soon. WrestleCulture is recorded in front of a live studio audience.
Wrestling.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Now the awkward part where we have to shut down YouTube. Same time next week, or we'll be doing the Q&A on Monday, of course, so do join us for that as well. But thank you so much to everyone for their donations, for their questions, for all